Hello and welcome again to KSA Tax Expert. My name is Imran Ahmed. To continue my initiative, today I'm going to have discussion on Saudi Arabian withholding tax.
Saudi Arabian withholding tax. What is withholding tax? Withholding tax is a tax imposed on non-residents with respect to their income from a Saudi source. It is withheld by a resident entity and settled to tax authority on behalf of non-resident as part of their monthly withholding tax return. Who is subject to withholding tax? A non-resident earning income from a Saudi source. How the non-resident would earn income from a Saudi source? They may have agreement or contract with a resident to provide services. So, in case of withholding tax, there would be transaction between a resident and a non-resident. Residents like a Saudi Arabian entity, a permanent establishment or a branch of a non-resident, an individual doing business activity in the kingdom would be required to withhold the tax. There are few points which you need to keep in mind with respect to withholding tax. Withholding tax is on gross amount. It means the withholding tax would be imposed on the value as per contract, agreement, or invoices issued by the non-resident without any deduction or adjustments. So, even if the non-resident is incurring certain expenses in earning those income, those expenses would not be allowed to be deducted while computing withholding tax. For example, if the contract is for 1000 Saudi Riyal and the non-resident is incurring expense of, let's say, 200 Saudi Riyal, so withholding tax would be imposed on 1000 but not on 800. The withholding tax settled is a full and final. However, in case of arithmetical errors or mistake, the WHT may allow adjustment or refund. The withholding tax is a tax on non-resident, and as such, even if the expense is disallowed in tax return or zakat return of a resident entity, it will not have any impact on withholding tax. Withholding tax would be between 5 to 20, means 5%, 15%, or 20%, depending upon the nature of payments, the relation between the payer and the payee, means the payer and payee are affiliated party or they are third party, the place of performance of services, means the services are performed inside Saudi Arabia or outside Saudi Arabia, or partially inside Saudi Arabia and partially outside Saudi Arabia. Tax residency of the payee. If the payee is resident of a country which have double tax avoidance treaty with Saudi Arabia, payment to them may not be subject to withholding tax or may be at lower rate, or the non-resident may have treaty PE and may be required to file a corporate income tax return and as such not subject to withholding tax. The payments which are subject to 5% withholding tax are rents, international telecommunication paid to unaffiliated party, payments for air tickets, air freight or marine shipping, technical and consultancy services fees paid to unrelated party, dividends paid to non-resident shareholders, interest or loan fees, insurance or reinsurance premiums. Payments which are subject to 15% withholding tax are royalty or license fees, or payments for services to head office or related parties, including payment for technical services or international telecommunications. Any other payments would be subject to 15%. We will have discussion what is any other payment. As far as 20% rate is concerned, there's only one nature of payment, that is management fee, which would be subject to 20% withholding tax. Now, Article 63 of bylaws provides definition of nature of services which are subject to different rates. The definitions relating to most common payments are royalty. It means the right to use a copyright, a patent, trademark, know-how, etc. Management fees means management services contracts. An example given in this article is of hotel and ship management. Technical and consultancy services means technical, technological, and scientific services. Other payment means payment from a Saudi source which is not defined in Article 68 of tax law or Article 63 of the bylaws. Now, I tried to summarize the applicability of withholding tax and the rates. So let's start that a Saudi entity is signing a contract with a non-resident, and that contract is for supply of services or supply of goods. If it's supply of goods, then it would not be subject to withholding tax. But the tax authority, in order to accept that one, they need a copy of custom documents. Once you import goods, once there is supply to Saudi Arabia, that supply or import would go through the Saudi customs authorities and they will issue a custom clearance document. So that is required by the tax authority to accept as payment relating to supply of goods not subject to withholding tax. Now, if that payment is for services, then we need to see that the non-resident is having a PE in Saudi Arabia or they don't have PE in Saudi Arabia. If the non-resident is having PE in Saudi Arabia, the payment to non-resident would not be subject to withholding tax because the non-resident would be filing their corporate income tax return and the income from this contract would be part of their income tax return. Now, if there's a contract with non-resident and that contract is for services and that non-resident is not having PE in Saudi Arabia and that services have been performed partially or fully outside Saudi Arabia or inside Saudi Arabia, then we need to see that what is the nature of payment, and that nature of payment would be subject to withholding tax. Now, if there is a payment to non-resident and that non-resident do not have PE in Saudi Arabia and those services have been performed entirely outside, then we need to see the payment is to an affiliated party or third party. If it is to affiliated party, those payments would be subject to 15% withholding tax. If there's a contract with non-resident and that contract is for supply of services and that non-resident does not have PE in Saudi Arabia and that services is performed entirely outside kingdom and the service provider is not affiliated party, it's not a related party, then we need to see if the nature of payment is for technical and consultancy services or international telecommunication services, then that payment would be subject to 5% withholding tax. If it is not relating to international telecommunication or technical services and services are performed entirely outside Saudi Arabia, then it would not be subject to withholding tax in Saudi Arabia. This concludes my discussion for today. I hope this video is informative and useful to you. If yes, please share and subscribe. If you have any questions or doubts, please feel free to connect me through email or mobile. or write your questions in comment box. I will come back to you. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching.